Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Those Film Nerds podcast. I'm Will Spalding. As always, I'm joined by my good friend, Sam Dierberger. Sam, how are you doing? How are you? Are you holding down the fort up in Minnesota for us while I'm at college?
I'm barely hanging on. It's last couple days here, and then
Well, yeah, you move in this week, so
yeah, I'll be going south as well. Which for a
to Columbia.
I guess
You're going to study in Columbia.
yeah, Columbia, Bogota University. Ever heard of it?
Obviously,
they have a lovely little library called the Pablo Escobar Library.
it's great.
It's
A lot of good reading
beautiful.
material there, for sure.
A lot of good reading material. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for
Good.
to be.
Man, I'm excited for you because college is great for anyone who hasn't been yet. It's awesome. But yeah,
Would
so
recommend.
Yeah, that's my recommend. College. No,
Not necessarily. Not for everyone.
it's not for everyone. You're right. But I hope everyone likes the new intro. So I did go back and add it to all the prior episodes. So if you have, or if you were listening, I don't know why the heck you would. If you were listening to another episode earlier this week, since the last one, because the last one did not have it, I threw together our first intro. Well, you obviously heard it. You know what it is. But I hope everyone likes it. It's about 32 seconds, and it took me about 2.5 hours. So I think does that deserve an email in? I think it does. So slight plug there. thosefilmnerds@gmail.com. But yes, so new intro. We're liking that. We might get a couple more of those thrown together so we can, just depending on like what episode we're doing or whatnot, we can always add in a different intro. But we'll see. For now, we're just going to stick with the one because obviously it took forever to figure out. So we're just going to stick with that one for now, but we may add in more later. So keep your toes out for that. And there Sam goes. Hopefully he'll join in 1 minute. But for now, I'll just talk about what we're going to discuss later on this episode. So later on the episode, right now I suppose, but we're going to discuss something a little different that we have not done before. Instead of like a classic movie review, which we've done in the past, or anything like that, we're going to do something completely different. And I don't believe we're going to talk about industry news or anything like that. We're also not doing recommendations this week because essentially this entire podcast that you are listening to will be an entire video of podcast of recommendations. We know that there's not many movies coming out right now, but we're going to try and give you something that you guys can all enjoy, whether it be a TV show, a movie, maybe a book. I don't know what Sam's going to say, to bring to the table here just shortly. But for now, while we wait for Sam to get back in, I think he's just having slight connection issues. He should be here in just a minute. I'm just going to talk about the first thing that I've been watching. So I know I've recommended this in the past, but I've watched a few more episodes since then. And I'm really enjoying it, although it is odd. I'm really enjoying Black Mirror out on Netflix now. So I'm through about 2.5 seasons right now. Black Mirror essentially is just an anthology TV show, kind of like I think we described it in that prior episode. I'm not sure which one it is. as a Twilight Zone. Not like ripoff, but not even spin-off either, but just kind of, it has the Twilight Zone feel. It's dark, it's kind of gritty sometimes, and it's just a little disturbing. So if you're not into that kind of thing, then definitely don't give this a watch. But if it is your thing, it's fantastic. It's well made. It's well directed. I mean, obviously, it's well acted. And again, these actors are not the same per episode. So if you're someone like me that finds watching TV tough because it's kind of a daunting task to go through to really undertaking an entire TV show, something like The Office, or really any TV show, because it's many seasons with many episodes per season. So in the long haul, you're looking at like 200 episodes. Well, Black Mirror is five seasons, an average of like 6 episodes per season. So like 30-ish episodes. And each of them are their own storyline with their very own how should I say this? The different actors each time, different storyline each time. It doesn't continue into the next. But basically all of them are dystopian futures, because all futures have to be dystopian, obviously. You can't have a good future. But where only bad things happen, essentially. The whole world is screwed up, and it's mostly to do with technology. There's been a few episodes that have not had anything to do with technology, but for the most part, it's technology-based. Another one I recommended was there was a type of technology to bring someone back from the dead. The previous one I watched was like a cell phone call. You could block someone in real life. So if you blocked them, you just saw like a shape of gray blob that couldn't speak to you, or you couldn't see them, or you couldn't speak to it, or that person that you blocked, I suppose. Because you haven't blocked. So they're all just really weird, quirky stories, I suppose, anthology stories that don't flow together at all. So it's not cohesive, I suppose. It's not a cohesive story, but it is quite good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I feel good about watching it afterwards, because I'm like, wow, that was very dark, very depressing. But it is enjoyable nonetheless. It's very well made. It's hard for me to say enjoyable because of what I just said previously, but it's extremely well made. It's on Netflix, and if you're into that sort of thing, definitely check it out. And we're going to take just a quick break as we get Sam back here in just a moment. But first, check out Black Mirror. We'll be back in a second. Thanks for listening, everyone. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But we're back. Sam's back with some technical difficulties aside. We've now dialed in. So we have our first caller now, technically. Sam, you're the first caller, and you're the host of the show. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a different experience. It feels like you're finally doing radio. So
actually, yeah,
you made it.
Sweet. There we go. We've done it. This podcast is canceled. Everyone, thank you for listening. It was great. It was, but no, we're just kidding. All right. So Sam, I just talked about Black Mirror. I want you to talk about something now. So what do you got for me? What have you been watching, or what have you watched?
Last night, as I said in the previous episode, I've done some heavy work in watching various films on the new streaming service Peacock. So last night I thought I'd watch The Interpreter from 2005, directed by Sidney Pollack. Starring Nicole Kidman and Sean Penn. And
happy birthday to Sean Penn on the day we're recording this.
This is a terrible movie.
Okay, wait 1 sec. So great movie or greatest movie?
Yeah. Did you hear me correctly? I said greatest.
Okay.
That's what I said.
I'll put you down
Yeah.
for great. Perfect. Okay, continue.
Sorry, this phone audio is terrible. I said greatest. No, this is a terrible movie. The tagline for this movie. Are you ready for this tagline? The truth.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Needs no translation. The truth needs no translation.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, man. The premise of this movie involves Nicole Kidman playing. First of all, she has a European accent, so that's interesting. And she plays a translator at the UN, like, one of those people with the headsets, and they're talking to the ambassadors with the headset, translating. And late one night, she overhears an assassination plot to basically take out this African country president. But she also happens to be involved in a conspiracy, like she has personal vendettas against this particular person. It's such a mess. It's a mess of screenwriting. So don't check that out. Check Peacock out, folks, but don't check that out. My God. The translator. The interpreter, sorry. The interpreter.
It doesn't matter. Either one. So I'm going to talk about one more thing. I think you're going to do one. I'm going to do one more real quick, and then we kind of want to have a discussion about one at the end. So we got a couple more here. So I'm going to talk about a movie I saw recently called out on Netflix, called 20th Century Women. It had a lot of Call Me by Your Name vibe to it. This isn't a perfect movie, but it's very, very good, in my opinion. It looks gorgeous. That's why it reminded me of Call Me by Your Name, like the shot selection plus the direction, and even like the editing style. I'll say it was kind of quirky, but it worked. So I loved it in that respect. The story was maybe slightly lacking, but it almost didn't matter for this specific movie. The characters were just so good and interesting, and just the way the movie was presented kept me engaged, even if some of the plot points weren't necessarily the strongest. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's got Elle Fanning.
Oh, yeah, Elle Fanning, Annette Bening, Greta Gerwig doing some acting, which is always cool to see. But this is definitely worth a watch. It's under 2 hours, just barely, but yeah, super good movie, well put together. I'm surprised it didn't have more Oscar buzz. And I talk about the story. I talk about the story not being great. It's not that. I mean, it did get a screenplay nomination at the Oscars, so I mean, obviously it did something right. I just thought it was a little lacking, but really the whole movie is well put together and well made. So yeah, I'll say
just,
20,
I mean, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. What'd you have to say about it?
No, I was gonna say, like, just I haven't seen it, but just looking at the description and the title and the cover, this looks like it should have won Oscars. Just
right?
I don't want to say Oscar baity because, something can be. I guess I can say Oscar baity because something can be Oscar bait and also be very good. But man, it looks like it should have won Oscars. It's got all the components.
Yeah, great set of cast. I love Billy Crudup in a role like this. Kind of a lesser known character actor, but he's great in like Spotlight and Jackie. So he's great in this. Obviously Annette Bening's fantastic. Elle Fanning is great as one of her first like big roles on screen. This is 4 years ago. Greta Gerwig. Love her, obviously. And I'm unaware of the kid, but he you know, obviously he's the main guy, and he held it together. So, in spite of some acting or some very talented people around him, he held his own.
Right. Yeah, that's always so interesting. You know, we talk about child actors a lot on here. And one of the things that first woke me up to this, like a lot of things, was on the Joe Rogan Experience when they had Macaulay Culkin on. And he talked about a lot of his experiences working as a child actor in the industry.
It's tough.
How it's tough. And how exploitive it is. I mean, that's a strong word choice, but specifically considering the fact that, you know, in the United States, children by and large are treated so much better than a lot of places in the world. But I mean, yeah, it can be from what he says, it can be quite exploitive, especially because, you know, the parents put these kids through a lot of stress. I mean, to be in a film that's going to be seen by so many people, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot put on him, especially for the most part. If you have a child actor, they're gonna be a main focus in the movie. Otherwise, why would you have them, right? So,
right.
Oftentimes, yeah, like you said, a lot of stress and pressure is put on them. But let's move on from this. 20th Century Women. Check it out on Netflix. What's your next one, Sam?
My next one is I saw Brokeback Mountain.
I love Brokeback Mountain.
I know.
I love it. So I want to hear your thoughts. I know you're not as high on it as me. I saw your star rating. I was a little hurt.
I mean, it's an impressive piece of work. I mean, some of that cinematography is remarkable.
Yes. I think this is
just
maybe aside from Nightcrawler, this is Jake Gyllenhaal's best work.
Yeah.
Same with Ledger. Same with Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Well,
it's better. It's better than the Joker performance.
I agree. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, Heath Ledger. What people forget about him, and we talk about this a lot, is people forget that before Brokeback Mountain and Batman, he was The Dark Knight. He was really just like a kind of a B-list like comedic actor.
Yeah.
Much bigger name in Australia, obviously, but yeah, kind of like a rom-com actor almost, like not.
Absolutely.
You know,
I mean,
not dramatic.
He was in the high school comedy coming of age 10 Things I Hate About You with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's right.
But,
Yeah.
Kind of the rom-com. Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah.
But, so talk a little bit more about Brokeback Mountain. Anything that held you back from it, or?
Yeah, some of the things that held me back about it was it felt like
Wait, let me ask this first. Would it get a recommend?
Yeah. Yeah, it would. It would get a recommend.
Okay, continue.
It's worth a watch. So for those of you who don't know, Brokeback Mountain has a description of two modern-day cowboys meet on a shepherding job in the summer of '63. The two share a raw and powerful summer together that turns into a lifelong relationship conflicting with the lives they're supposed to live. See, the thing here is that part, the two share a raw and powerful summer together, that part doesn't even make up, I don't know, not even like a third of the movie. Everything there felt incredibly rushed to the point of there's not a whole lot of emotional investment in the characters for later on when you see the ramifications of what transpired that summer. You don't feel fully, you feel somewhat invested, but you don't feel fully invested in the characters. in them trying to navigate life without each other. And they go on to only be able to see each other, a couple times a year. And, they want to have this, and they're obviously romantically interested in each other. But that is kind of the difficult part for me is it felt like the first third was just super rushed and not really, I guess, fully fleshed out. I think it could have been done better, but ultimately the acting is fantastic. The direction is great, and it's a very solid movie. Broke a lot of boundaries, I suppose, and what you can do in a, I guess, mainstream movie, because it's kind of a huge hit, especially in 2005, summer 2005. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And Brokeback Mountain, obviously famously losing to Crash at the 2006 Oscars. Probably should have beat Crash, but hindsight is 2020, I guess. But
arguably the most controversial Best Picture winner, Crash.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, that or The Godfather. I'm still not. Jury's out on that one.
Who knows? Yeah.
Not sure if that'll hold up. Anyway, no, just kidding. But
yeah, did you have any additional thoughts on Brokeback Mountain then?
Yeah, I'll talk about it for a minute. Like I said, I love Brokeback Mountain. I understand where you're coming from, that it almost doesn't build that first summer, I should say, appropriately, but I just think everything after that is so great to me that I almost kind of forget about it. And I still think that first act does a good job too. I think the second, end of the second, beginning of the third act is the best, when they kind of realize that this isn't going to work out between the two of them. I love the stuff with Heath Ledger's wife, Ennis's wife. Michelle Williams, I absolutely love. She's fantastic. But
she's fantastic.
Yeah, I would just say it's very, very emotional, which I think I want a movie to make me feel something, whether that's happiness, sadness, or like obviously laugh at a comedy, whatever. Like if you can make me feel, then you've done your job. And I think Brokeback Mountain does that for me, at least.
Oh yeah, it'll make you feel. And I don't say this about a lot of movies. I mean, Brokeback Mountain, we're looking at a runtime of 134 minutes, but I don't say there's a lot. But this movie, I'm not saying it should be longer, but I'd be okay if it was longer. And just fleshed out that first act a lot more, because like you said, everything after that is so well done,
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I would be okay if Brokeback Mountain was a 3-hour movie. I'd be fine with it.
There you go. Check out Brokeback Mountain. And you saw that where?
Peacock, man. Peacock.
I knew it was coming.
It's the best. It's the best.
So check out Brokeback Mountain on Peacock. Obviously gets my recommend. Gets Sam's too. Maybe a little less so, but it still gets it. Also going to talk about another TV show on Netflix. I know I started a TV show. Isn't that weird?
That's so strange. That's not like you at all.
I know. I got to preface this then. I'm at college. My room, obviously there's less time. We can't watch as many movies here. Less time. My roommate and I wanted to watch a TV show together. We were scrolling through Netflix. We were like, okay, let's watch Parks and Rec. So there you go. Parks and Rec. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. I watched the entire series.
Okay, let me talk about it, then we'll get to you.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've obviously been recommended this a ton, and all the time I'm just like, I can't do 28 seasons of Parks and Recreation. I just can't do it. But we were like, you
Right.
know, we need to let's watch TV show together. Let's do it. So I've only seen a couple episodes. It's very funny, and I've only heard it gets funnier. Amy Poehler,
Yeah, that is true.
I love Amy Poehler. I think she's hilarious. Anytime she just needs to host award shows. Like that should just be her job. But
Yeah.
she's pretty dang good at being in Parks and Rec too. The characters are very good. I haven't seen The Office. Only a few select episodes, but I almost feel like Parks and Rec has better characters because I've only seen a few episodes of each. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. I have to see The Office too. But you're more of a so you've seen all of Parks and Rec. You talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the inevitable thing about talking about Parks and Rec is it gets compared to The Office, and to me, there's really no comparison. I mean, The Office is superior for just a number of things. I think that the thing about Parks and Recreation, especially as it goes on, is that it's not just the main cast that are weird people, like objectively weird. Like each of them have their own quirks that is just out of line of the average person, right? It's that the entire town of Pawnee, you find, is just weird. Like there's not one person that appears on that show that is normal. Like even like a one-off character that appears in one episode is just odd, right? With The Office, what you find is you have a core group of just interesting people, and then the rest of the world operates normally around them. And that, I think that ultimately leads to more effective comedy. But the other interesting thing I wanted to point out about Parks and Rec was in the first season, I think, after the first season, I read somewhere that they kind of changed up Amy Poehler's character, Leslie Knope, a little bit because according to their studies, they found mainstream audiences found the character too ditzy, I think the word was, like almost like too, I guess, stupid or naive.
Oh, interesting.
So they changed her character a little bit in the second season.
Okay.
And I mean, it wasn't noticeable to me until I read that. You know, it was one of those things.
Well, I'm sure I'll be watching for that now.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's an interesting debate. It's an interesting debate.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say that also that I think that Parks and Rec knew when to quit. They kind of quit when they were still producing, I guess, high quality comedy, whereas The Office just lagged on after losing Michael Scott, which, you know, after that it's a completely different show, as you've probably heard. So
Yeah. Okay. No, sure. You know, I've again only a few episodes. Really enjoyed it. I do need to see The Office, and I will report back with my thoughts on that as well. But yeah, it's good so far. I'm excited to watch something that other people know. So, because I feel like every movie I watch, just nobody knows what it is, and I just sit in a corner.
Just talking to yourself.
Like if I went up to anyone and was like, "Have you seen 20th Century Woman? Have you seen Brokeback Mountain? Let's talk about it." People would be like, "What are you talking about?" So
yeah, I mean, like, especially at college, people are gonna be like, "You're gonna talk about Brokeback Mountain." They're like, "Are you the kid who's taking the queer cinema class?" Or whatever?
Well, I have heard that a lot of fraternities watch 20th Century Women. So.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, what do you do for initiation? You watch Animal House and then you watch 20th Century Women.
Yeah, and Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah.
Yes.
Those three are required viewings.
Yep.
Yeah. So Parks and Rec out on Netflix. Check that out. Tim, you said you had one more, and I think we want to kind of have a little bit more of a conversation on this one.
Yeah, I do. So shortly after you watched it, I watched Tully, which is a Charlize Theron movie starring Charlize Theron. And that came out when? 2018?
2016. 2017.
2018.
Okay.
Letterboxd has it as 2018. I don't know.
No, you were right then. Nice. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But this is a fascinating movie. Fascinating.
It is. It is.
It's one of those where you watch it and you're like, that wasn't necessarily great, but it was just so, it made you think a lot. And it's so constantly engaging, not necessarily because of the storytelling, but just because of the, I guess, characters. So let's start with you. What thoughts did you have on Tully?
Yeah, so I saw Tully maybe, would it be a week and a half ago or so by now? And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really ultimately just an interesting character study of the character that Charlize plays, whom the name is escaping me now. Let me just look real quick so I know for Marlo.
She has a weird name. Marlo.
Yes.
Marlo, that's right.
Okay, so it's really just an interesting character study of Marlo, and then obviously the character Tully getting thrown into the mix. But
right,
I thought Charlize was excellent, but that's no surprise to anyone. So, I thought Mackenzie Davis, I believe her name is, Mackenzie Davis, who played Tully. I thought she was very good. I thought something that really impressed me, which I don't normally look at, I guess, would be the colors and the art direction. I was into that. I was like, man, this looks like an average middle class home in wherever they live in. I thought the set design, the production design was great. It felt like a small scale movie, but it still felt it felt large enough where it felt accessible, I guess. Not where I was like some super small indie film. It felt easy to watch. It was quick, which I appreciated. The pacing was down to a T, and overall really good.
That's really true with what you said about the I guess having it be relatable strangely, because it's Charlize plays a pregnant mother, her third child on the way, basically. By the way, I read that she gained something like 50 pounds for the role.
It's not a Charlize movie without a physical appearance.
Just a physical transformation.
Yeah, Monster and Mad Max and Tully.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And then you see her in the old guard, and you're like, there's no way she's ever been that fat. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're in the old guard and the Fate of the Furious, and you're like, okay, that's just a beautiful woman.
Yeah, she has 2 kids in real life. Holy cow! How does that happen? That's incredible. It's interesting thematically because she has her third kid and the plot kind of progresses. And it kind of says something interesting about motherhood, because motherhood is kind of like, 2 sides of a coin, right? Because on one hand, it's just selflessness. It's constant attention giving. It's constant exhaustion, and you love it and you do anything for it. And then on the other side of the coin, you're just exhausted all the time.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what Tully plays with, right? And at first you kind of view it as a cautionary tale because the way Mackenzie Davis plays her character Tully, who plays is kind of like this nighttime nanny who takes care of the children. Her kindness, the way she plays the character, she's super kind, very affectionate, and I almost detected like a hint of like, I guess, fear from that. Like I thought something bad was going to happen almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was too good to be true, right? And it ends up being that's right, like too good to be true, but in a different way than what I was thinking of. I almost thought this was go like full psychological thriller at one point.
It definitely could have.
You know.
So this is
Also, go ahead, yeah.
I guess we're just gonna do a quick mini review. We've already kind of started on. It'll just be a quick one. We won't. I don't know if we're gonna spoil it, but there is a pretty big twist on the end. Let's not spoil it, but there is a twist. Did it work? Did it work for you? Or did it add anything to the story?
No, it doesn't really add anything to the story, honestly. I mean, it's good because it's like it works in the context of the story, but the twist itself is something that's really recognizable as kind of a common trope.
I saw
of movies these days.
I saw it coming.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I vaguely saw it coming, and I don't see a lot of things coming. Yeah. Like, you're extremely good, as we said before, with
about 20 minutes before it happened, I was like, oh, this is where it's gone. And that's not that's my fault, because I had looked for it. If I wanted to be surprised, I could, because I just turned my brain off. But I'm looking like something's gonna happen here. I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably it. When it turned out it wasn't, I was not disappointed, because I'm like, I think for me it worked. I'm like, okay, this is good. I like. It felt like almost a natural progression for our main character, but maybe you didn't think so, but it worked for me.
It's just that it's hard to go into it without spoiling it. It's like
I know.
Do you know what I mean though? Like it's been done before.
It has been done.
That exact same twist has been done before. It's like it reminds me of like it was like a block-based way of writing a screenplay, like writing a story out. They just threw that block in there, you know.
Is it this? I won't say the movie because again, then it'll spoil it. And I'm sure no one will get this right. First M. Night Shyamalan movie, Sam, is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's exactly
100%.
Yeah. I mean, even when I had thought like is this where it's going? I'm like, that's exactly what Shyamalan did. But I was,
right.
I'm there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was that, or maybe there's other similar ones. I mean, you could anything that has a, let's put it this way, anyone that has a unreliable protagonist, I suppose.
Unreliable narrator, yeah.
Yeah. Anyone with that, any movie with that basically kind of is in the same vein. But, honestly, I don't know, if this movie went full psychological thriller like I thought it would, I don't even know if it would be any better, it's hard to say, but overall, this is a solid movie. I mean, I'd certainly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, Tully, that's on Peacock as well. We're okay. Actually, no. Here we go. Peacock, you suck. Horrible app. We're gonna blackmail our our advertisements. So we're gonna keep bashing you, Peacock, until you pay us money. Then we'll say good things.
So just gonna extort it out of money.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should just upgrade to Peacock Premium, and then maybe they'll consider advertising with us. Who knows?
That's what we got. That's what we got.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Peacock is it's free. It's just ad-based. It has a pretty good selection of movies and TV shows, and it's the ads aren't invasive yet. From what I can tell, I've watched several movies on there now.
Yeah, I watched. I've watched a few, and it's felt like they maybe have 3 ads per movie, which is a pretty sweet deal, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 5. And one of the movies I saw, they did like 100 seconds of ads, which is more than the usual 30, right? They do 100 seconds of ads right at the beginning, and then the movie is just yours to watch. There's no more interruptions.
I would almost prefer that.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I'd even do like a couple of minutes of ads if I got to watch the movie for free. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to hear that, but I can deal with it.
Absolutely.
It's still better than watching TV.
That's I can't stand watching TV because of ads. It's just like it's such a power down for me. Like, I'm watching something and then it's just gone. But yeah. So
well, I will say, like, the one show I watch on TV, which is the best show on television, which is
Better Call
Saul.
Yep.
Better Call Saul, baby. I do enjoy the experience of like 7 o'clock on Monday nights for the next month and a half is Better Call Saul night. I'm there. I sit through the ads and everything. I watch the premiere.
Yeah.
Like,
that's like event television.
It makes you feel like you're doing. Yeah. Well, it makes you feel like you're doing something right.
Sure.
Versus, kind of the typical Netflix thing, which is to sit and binge, and it's like this is not the way TV was intended to be made. Especially a lot of these shows that were made before, like The Office, for example, and people binge The Office. It's like that's not how the show was intended to be watched.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they couldn't predict Netflix coming.
I'm gonna suggest one more thing. I'm just gonna mention it, and then we'll get out of here. No one's listening to this. Let's be honest. So. I'm gonna recommend another thing on Netflix. So I think I was all Netflix, and I think you were all Peacock. So tell us where you guys are. Are you guys Netflixers or Peacockers? But so I'm gonna recommend The Town on Netflix. Just saw this the other day.
Okay.
The reason I watched it is, we found out about Ben Affleck doing the Big Goodbye movie about Chinatown. I had seen Argo, but I'm like, okay, I should go see the rest of Ben Affleck's movies. So The Town was next in line. Saw The Town, quite good. About some bank robbing. Ben Affleck being the lead of those aforementioned bank robbers, with Jeremy Renner, who I don't normally like. I think he's a good actor, but I don't think he has any charisma. He's very good in this. The Town on Netflix. And yes, in case you're wondering, it is set in Boston. Now y'all go watch it.
Balls back. Yeah.
Yeah, so Affleck's doing his Boston thing. And I was upset when when Matt Damon didn't show up, because we could have gotten some Boston things out of him too. And Wahlberg.
Well, yeah, there's no Wahlberg either.
I know. Upsetting. But The Town on Netflix. But so like I said, Sam, or do you want to mention anything else?
Should I mention a show on? Should I mention a movie that should be watched that's on
Yeah, do
Peacock
it.
right now?
Yes. It's not Peacock. If it's not anything else, you can't say
They
it.
just added. They just. Well, yeah. Let's see here. So The Graduate is on Peacock, streaming for free.
Ooh,
Yes.
I love The Graduate.
Yeah, that's exciting, relevant for. Well, I mean, it would have been more relevant, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months ago when everyone was graduating. But this movie is. If you've heard good things about it, it's probably even better than that. Like, and if you think that, oh, this movie was made, 50 plus years ago, it's not relevant to me. It's like, oh my God, are you wrong? A lot of the stuff that goes on in there is,
Yeah.
it's not.
So funny. Oddly enough, I was going in the intro. I was going to put The Graduate quote. I didn't end up doing it, but that might be on. I kind of teased. We might do more of them, but I might be on a future one.
Okay. Is it the You're Trying to Seduce Me? Is it
Mrs.
that
Robinson,
one?
you're trying to seduce me.
It's like half a question, half a statement. It's like,
Yeah.
It's bizarre how relatable that movie is because the things the main character does are not necessarily relatable to the
So
average person.
here's my thing with The Graduate. I love the first 2 acts so much. It's so good. Dustin Hoffman's amazing. The third act falls off for me where I was like, oh my gosh, no. Like I was so upset. And then the final 2 minutes, I was like, and then especially the final shot, I was like, oh my gosh, that was great. So that's how I don't know how to feel about the movie as a whole. Because like the final shot of them in the bus,
it's weird.
Like they're all happy because they got away, but then they're in the bus and they're realizing like, oh, is this a good idea? Like just showing the naivety of youth with that one shot and 2 people just sitting in the back of the bus with their facial expressions, not saying even a single word to each other, was brilliant.
Yeah.
So check out The Graduate.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. So before I sound too much like a broken record, let's get out of here. Sam, where can I find you on Letterboxd?
You can find me at sjdierberger if you feel like it. And where can I find you?
You can find me on Letterboxd at Will Spalding, and you can find us on Peacock and Netflix, but mostly Peacock.
I'm a peacocker.
Yes, absolutely. And you can find the show at thosefilmnerds@gmail.com and at thosefilmnerds on Instagram, and as well on anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds, where you can find all of our episodes there or on the podcast platform of your choosing or YouTube. But until next time, Sam?
Keep watching movies, y'all.
Yeah, keep doing that. We'll see you next time.